So Bjorn, nice to see you today. Really
Nice
happy to have a chat with you today to talk about the FlexBeam and being one of our exhibitors. So that's really awesome. So guys that are watching this today, this is Bjorn. He's the marketing and creative director over at FlexBeam. So as you know, I'm speaking with each speaker and exhibitor to talk about why I invited them, why they want to exhibit, and the cool things behind their technology so that you can get to know them before the summit itself. So, hi Bjorn.
Hey Tim, thanks for having me on.
No worries. It's good to catch up with you again. So we'll get straight into it. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Tell me, what is the FlexBeam and how does it work, mate?
Basically, this is the FlexBeam. This is the world's first targeted red light therapy device. This is we're going live with this on Indiegogo now in October, and red light therapy is something we'll talk a little bit about and how it works. It's a technology that's been around for a few decades, and it's gone through various evolutions. And we have come up with a device that's designed for the human body, so it's the first of its kind. It's uniquely designed to be optimally efficient, etc., to give you the kind of benefits that red light therapy is now known to give you, which we can talk about. But basically, the FlexBeam speeds up your healing processes in your own body, and so it's a perfect recovery device for relieving and repairing and recovering parts of your body, and you can put it on anytime, anywhere it works, depending on the programs, multiple uses.
Yeah, it's really it's a really nice unit actually. I mean, I'll come on to a bit about why I like it in a minute, but it's really interesting because there's a lot of red light devices out there now. It's really a biohacker's essential, I guess. And I think one thing obviously is that it's the portability of it. I mean, we're getting into the more details of it. I actually had a piece that went out today in the press actually about red light therapy, taking it mainstream actually. So I'll have to send you a link after this. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes. But really, yeah, talking about the benefits of red light. So tell me, like, how does it work and what does it do?
So now I just to demonstrate what the light looks like. It's a super easy console, like 1, 2, 3. You apply it like this wherever you hurt. So let's say your tennis elbow has gone through something where you hurt somewhere. Like by placing it here, shaping it to your arm. It could be your back or it could be your stomach. I'm gonna turn it on pause just because it's probably noisy for you guys. What it does is triggers the mitochondria in your cell, or known as the powerhouse of your cell, to basically regenerate faster, to give you more energy to the cells, and it improves circulation in the area. So there's multiple mechanisms at play when you apply a red and near infrared light at certain wavelengths that are demonstrated to happen. And for myself, I was very surprised when I first learned of this and I was shown a prototype of this device. I hadn't even heard of this being possible, but it's a very real thing, and it's demonstrated by thousands of peer-reviewed studies. NASA has done research on this. Red light therapy is something that actually really works, and I know in biohacker circles have clued into it very, very early as well.
Yeah.
And so what's unique about this device is that it's portable and rechargeable and in all the convenient senses of how a device can work. That's very different from anything else that's on the market. But it's also designed to be the most efficient delivery of red light, because if you have a panel, for example, where you stand in front of it, you have to get really close to the panel in order to actually get the effects from the light fully. Whereas this device has been designed by our lead engineer, who originally designed it to help his wife out with a back problem, basically, that you could strap it anywhere, and when it goes directly on your skin, you're not losing any of the light anywhere. And because you can shape it around joints or difficult to curve spots, you can ensure that the power that is in these frequencies of light essentially penetrate the deepest into your body. And this is like the power of infrared light is that it actually can penetrate up to 10 centimeters at certain powers. So it goes beyond the surface and goes deeper into your tissue and into your muscles, which is why a lot of athletes love it, because they can recover faster, and it improves the healing process inside the body.
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, there's just something I want to touch on here actually, is that I talk about how biohacking mimics a natural environment in an unnatural world, and how it's using technology to reverse technological issues, such as we're not seeing enough sunlight, so therefore we don't get enough natural light therapy. And in obviously some countries where you don't get to see the sun very often, you don't get to see the red light rays from the sun, and therefore healing isn't as good as what we should do. Obviously, our whole body works better when we do get natural sunlight, especially sunrise and sunset, and a certain amount of light exposure. And it's like, I think red light therapy is done so well because people are realizing the power of light. It's actually, like, from some of the specialists' work out there, they're saying that light therapy, or should I say light itself, is more important than getting energy from food. But you obviously still need to get your nutrients, minerals and things from food, which is why eat. Which is why when you're in colder countries, for instance, you need to eat more nutrient dense food, or should I say much heavier dense foods, whereas when you're on holiday in a hot sunny place, then you can generally get away with more salads and less energy dense food, because obviously all energy comes from the sun originally, and that sun is light, and that light is energy, obviously. And so I think that's why red light light therapy in general, and I'm talking blue light sad lighting for seasonal affective disorder, or red light therapy for healing, really does work well, because people say, oh, well, it's not proven, but we evolved with sunlight, we evolved with light, and our ancestors got to this point, they did pretty well, and now we're saying, well, we're actually covered in clothes, living in houses without seeing sun, therefore what can we do to bring that back? And it works. So that's just the point that I want to touch on, because I think a lot of my followers know that I'm always going down the natural route when I can, but when I don't, I use technology to bring that back in, which is why I really like red light therapy specifically.
Yeah, it's very there's a long history to red light therapy before the latest sort of technological inventions to it. But one of the most amazing things when I started looking into the history of this is how we used to treat people in this world with sunlight. They would go to you would be sent to a Kurbad in Germany, or a sanatorium, or somewhere with basically a place in which you could soak up as much sunshine as possible, be in salt mineral water, like all kinds of basic natural remedies. And I think the reason why I, among with many people, found it counterintuitive when I was first told of this device is because we don't normally think of how important our light environment is for our own health. But once you flew into this and you realize that the sun is very powerful in its own way, it's a full spectrum, the full energy spectrum, then it makes sense that red and near infrared light, which are the specific wavelengths that we use in our device and that most red light therapy products have, are really specific parts of the spectrum that are already present, especially at sunrise and at sunset. So the redness you see in a sunrise and the redness you see in a sunset contains these frequencies. So what we've been able to do with this device is basically to take a more concentrated form of those wavelengths that have been documented to have the most triggering effect on cells, and to be able to isolate them and put them in a way so you can do a kind of targeted healing directly applied to the body. There's a little piece of sunrise or sunset, like directly applied.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think it's really important that I actually did a post on Instagram today. And yeah, it's really connecting all of these bits back together of how important it is that when you go to see your doctor, they don't say, oh, are you getting enough sunlight, or are you grounding, or are you eating this, that, or the other, or are you exercising and getting your lymph flowing every day? They prescribe you, which means that they're essentially drug dealers first and health practitioners second, which is such a shame. But I mean, I think it's becoming more and more widely used. So Bjorn, like, what do you think are the key benefits of red light therapy then in general?
I mean, in general, it's for a targeted device like this one. It has a huge promise as pain relief. It's just like the most common, it's the most common application from all the testing we've been doing. And we already, by the way, we sold 500 of these already. So they've been tried and tested and sent out on the market. And we have a lot of feedback from users. And most of what they love it for is for pain relief, for reducing inflammation, because it increases the circulation in the area. So things that are like that have deeply relieving effects. But then when you apply it longer term, it also has a repairing effect on the body. Like it triggers healing over, like you sleep, and then your body heals overnight, you sleep better, and so on. So after a week and 2 and 3 weeks, you can start seeing healing processes in the body that are not limited to just solving something acute here and now or just symptom based. But really, I think the sort of the fitness workout segment, like we have some of the people who tried it early call it their workout buddy. They love it as their gym buddy. Like they use it before and after because it both prevents injury and after it triggers the body to feel faster. So as a recovery device, it's what we're seeing the most, like the most loved applications of it. But that said, there are many things you can do. Like even if you don't have specific pain issues or something you need to resolve, you get an energy boost from this if you place it on the gut, for example. This is my own favorite. It's like I sit with it 10 minutes on my gut. This is where you your gut lining has the most mitochondria and most light receptors in your body, and it's kind of like a mindfulness. You can take it into your part of your meditation routine. It gives you a nice warming energy boost for your day, and has benefits for your whole system. When you apply it certain places, even if it's locally applied, you do get some of the effects for your whole body that you would otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few posts on red light therapy over the last few months and breaking down all the benefits of it. So guys that are watching this, have a look if you want to see the benefits of it. And I think it brings us on to the next point really well, actually, is like my experience with FlexBeam. And I think when I think it was Sarah on your team reached out to me and she just said, I'm going to be in London and I want you to try out this red light device. And at that moment, like a lot of these guys that are probably watching, it's like another red light device. And I was just kind of like, okay, do I really want to travel across town for another device that I might already have? But when I saw it, I was just like, this is genius, absolute genius. It really got me straight away. And I was like, I want to hold on to this one, please. Because I think the thing that, like, there's several concerns I have around some of the red light units that are out there are that they are wired in to the wall. So you have to plug them in the wall. They've got metal casing, which, and when you measure EMFs near them, they're quite high, a lot of them. And then, so you have to then have an earthing mat to be earthed out when you're using it. And the levels of it, if you have to put it up really close, the EMFs are off the charts. And that's always been a concern for me. And I tagged a couple of the brands in a post about it and they just kind of ignored it. And obviously, because I think it's not necessarily positive towards it, but when tested it obviously with what you guys have got, and now as we discussed before we started recording, I wanted to verify it, that I wasn't going crazy, but obviously they're sealed units and they're batteries that are sealed, and I think sealed in lead or something or other, so that the EMFs aren't zero, but they're very, very low compared to a lot of the other ones out there. So that was something else I like. But the other thing, the most interesting thing is that because I'm pretty busy, I travel a lot. I didn't bring it with me this time, to be completely honest, but because I travel a lot, I can't take my red light stack anywhere with me. Because of the EMFs, I find that it's quite limiting. But when I have my FlexBeam on, for instance, and I like it around my belly, around the belly button area, because I had a surgery there earlier on in the year. So I can put it on, I set it, and I carry on doing stuff around the house, whether I'm doing my workout routine. I actually used it in the hyperbaric chamber a few times as well. And also when doing the housework. So it's like, actually, instead of just sitting around in front of a unit and having to stay still, you can actually move around, and also it gets very, very close. So for instance, if I get a headache or something or other, or I've hurt myself during I've pulled something, I then have it around my neck, around there as well. And I saw Chris Gethin, who's a dear friend of mine. He uses it around his neck and around his back quite a lot. So I mean, my experience of it has been really, really good. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I really wanted you guys to exhibit at the summit because I love it so much. And I think it's the next, it's the evolution of the red light, basically, to its next stage. So yeah, so I mean, I think that's makes it pretty obvious why I invited you guys to exhibit, why I wanted you guys to come along.
That's cool.
Yeah.
May I ask you, Tim, what you used it for? Have you that you could notice any particular effects while, like, before or after?
Yeah, I really like it. Well, as I say, I like it around my belly, around my belly button area. Midriff, because of the surgery I had, and I had keyhole surgery in 3 places. And not only does it kind of feel warm and nice while it's there, I had previously tested red light therapy with a wound, and as actually in the article I discussed earlier on, I healed in about 3 weeks of using red light therapy and hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And it should have been more like 2 to 3 months of wound healing because it was a very big one. My surgeon said, it's not, well, he didn't say a miracle, but he said, well, that's just unheard of. And I said, well, it was red light therapy and hyperbaric, and he just kind of went, yeah, sure. So I know the benefits of it, and I've seen it firsthand, and also had outside verification of that. But for me, since the operation, I've had it around my belly. I really like it there.
So is your wound better now after?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very, very quickly. Like almost, you can't even see the scars. I use proteolytic digestive enzymes as well, systemic, to help with wound healing, red light therapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and obviously I have very high collagen diet, and also I take silica as well, which obviously helps with all of this. So yeah, I mean, that's my experience with FlexBeam, and I think, like the name says, it's flexible, which means it's closer and targeted, opposed to having to sit next to a device up against the wall somewhere, which I think is a real big benefit for me, as well as the EMFs. And I think any biohackers or health optimizers out there, becoming more and more aware of how bad EMFs are and how we should minimize them as much as we can. For me, I go the pro of red light therapy, the negative of EMF. Well, that stopped me wanting to use my red light stack, and now it's kind of like gone back like this. So I'm very,
so I'm glad that we could bring forward a new kind of solution for this, because it's worth keeping in mind about the history of these red light therapy devices that have gone on the market. Is basically, in the 90s and into the 2000s, they discovered that these kinds of panels, they were developed for like grow ups and so for plants. Right, originally, but then when you could take that kind of design, which is basically a panel that you could put over anything that is growing, and somebody figured out they could sell this to humans because it also works on humans. That's basically creating the same kind of design, mass producing it in China and putting a branding sticker on it, and it's basically the same thing that was designed for a plant. And so Arjen Helder, our Dutch engineer who invented the FlexBeam, who was like using this to treat his wife, was like, it's particularly concerned with EMF. So that went into the early stage of thinking about how the device should work, that this is one of the reasons why it should be battery driven. And so it's been designed to fit the body, and so it's been reinvented, basically, this technology in this form. So this gets rid of, so as you say, some of the drawbacks that come with some of the devices out there.
Big time. I mean, I think that's why I wanted to highlight to the guys watching this that it's not just another red light device, because I know that there's a lot of brands out there all competing. I don't think this competes in any way. So it's lateral thinking. It's taking it to a new level, which is why I really like it, and that's why you guys are exhibiting this year. So I really do think it's a strong benefit, really strong, actually. Also, you can take it traveling, which is one of the things. So if you are on the move quite a lot, and it's important to you, especially if you've hurt yourself or something. And I think for Chris Gethin, obviously it's ideal. He's traveling more than time than he's not, which means he can now take it with him as well. So yeah, so just out of interest, what's your experience with it, other than, you say that you put it on your your digestion here. Like, I mean, how do you find it works for you?
Yeah, I found that it has a calming effect on common and stimulating, like in combination on the sort of the gut-brain axis when I use it on my gut, and then over my lungs and my heart area for as a relaxing kind of session with it. But I do find after the gym, if I've gone particularly hard, I have a weaker sort of lower back area from, you know, deadlifts from 10 years ago that are still sitting in there, kind of thing. And I can feel that when I'm just reaching that threshold, then applying it 10 minutes after, and then I wake up the next morning and it's like, it's nowhere near, I can feel that it's progressing faster. So I found that very interesting. But most people that because I've gotten to interview lots of people who've used it. So I'm also doing some of the filmmaking for this. I got lots of experiences with meeting people who really have profound health issues, like circulation problems in the legs. They couldn't walk, and or like suffering with severe pain. And I'm blessed that I've never had any of those kinds of particular issues a reason to use it, basically, which are, you know, it's more powerful if you have something very acute or something where you actually have a health problem that this at least could help resolve to some degree, or like be an aid on the way to optimizing your health.
So what are some of the other things that you've heard? Obviously you've asked other people questions, or like, what's your benefits from it? How have you found it? Like, what have you heard from other people? Really interested to hear other people's experiences.
I would say it's a lot of relieving pain and boosting energy levels. That it's like providing more energy for your day, whether it's like taking it to the gym or just feeling better in your day. And it's to calm, soothe any kind of symptoms that you might have from things that are related to inflammation, for example, circulation issues. Like it improves the blood flow in the area wherever you put it, right? So it starts triggering a cascade of different kinds of effects.
Yeah, very cool.
But we've had some interesting case studies, which we're like logging more of now, but using these like Oura rings that I think you have one as well, like which actually has a really good sleep tracker. And so we're able to do these case studies, and we're collecting, and we're sharing it as we go. But in one of our case studies that we did here, it was like a 40% increase in deep sleep from using it over 3 to 4 weeks. And someone who suffered with deep sleep issues, we're posting this on our blog very shortly. So, you know, we're still learning and we're still logging, but we are amazed at all the, like, we can see the effects as they vary on the spectrum, that people are finding good use for it and that it's working for them. So we're very happy to have a product to bring out and to showcase at like the Health Optimization Summit. Is particularly important for us to show people that what we believe should be in the future home, that every home should have one day, because it makes sense. You can use it for so many things. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really more important than people realize. For instance, I mean, there's studies that showed regard to sunburn and speeding up healing of UV radiation damage with red light therapy as well. So basically it has a protective effect from the potential harm of the sunlight. Now, obviously sunlight is full spectrum, but red light specifically is very, very good for that. So I think that there's some really much bigger benefits than people actually realize. One thing I just want to just say, actually, Bjorn, is that people that are obviously watching this right now, if you leave a comment in the questions below, what we're going to do is Bjorn and I will pick the best question, and you will get a FlexBeam device. So one
of these guys.
Yeah.
We'll give away.
So how much are they worth? They're worth about $400-500 or something like that, aren't they?
Yeah, so they retail for like $499 for the unit itself. We're launching this on Indiegogo now, and it's going to be available there for people who order early for $399. But for anyone watching this show, we can give you there's a link that you will see with the post. If you use that, you can get the device $349 on Indiegogo.
That's really good. $349, and that works out with all the bits and pieces around £330, something like that, I think, from memory. Which is about half the price of a lot of the other red light stacks.
Yeah, it's about a 40% discount on what this will like retail for if you were to get it right now.
Awesome. Just out of interest, John, why did you guys want to exhibit at the summit, at the Health Optimization Summit specifically? I mean, what was it that struck you that wanted to come along? Because there's a lot of events that go on around health space, some holistic, some wellness. Obviously, there's some biohacking ones as well. But I mean, what struck you with us?
I find it inspiring what you are trying to put together, and with the Health Optimization Summit, and what I see is the philosophy behind the summit and how you want to reach out to people in a way, educating about some of the going back to the basics, which I think for us coheres a lot with the philosophy of our company, which is called Recharge. It's like, this is the first in a line of products that we have that we want to bring to people, also raise awareness about the importance of light, the importance not just of red light in those specific devices, but the link to the sunlight, to the natural circadian rhythms, being in tune with that natural cycle. And I find, I mean, in the whole biohacker space, there's a lot of room for all kinds of innovative, experimental approaches to things. But I really personally like the philosophy that you put to it and bring to the summit, and I think you can reach more people this way, in a way, with a broader and more inclusive message.
Yeah, thanks for saying so. Yeah, I mean, obviously the brand of Health Optimization Summit brings in health and fitness, medical wellness, you know, biohacking, paleo, keto, all the different mindsets with the goal of health. And so that means that we don't have products with crappy fillers in it, or all the rubbish and the junk, because the goal is health. So yeah, I mean, when I labeled it Health Optimization Summit, it was so that people like my mum could understand what it was about, and obviously it worked. Because if you call it a biohacker summit in the UK, then people are very reserved about it and not quite sure what a biohacker is. Less than 10% actually people we surveyed knew what biohacking was.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of the name or the word myself, in a way, and I find health optimization makes more. I mean, we call this like in our instructions, we call this your health optimization device. You know, so it's like I think we're speaking a similar language. And the event in London, we're really looking forward to coming. It was originally planned for around this time when we were launching the product, so that's why we were, you know, we were sad to see that it had to be postponed. But I think it will be all the more interesting when it happens. Yeah, well, we've got some, obviously we've had more time to build out an even better experience and a better event, whereas a year, it may sound like a long time to build an event, but it's actually not. It's actually like crazy amount of work, ridiculous. So yeah, we're happy to have a bit of extra time to be able to make it a much better experience. And we're just actually looking at a bigger venue, a more natural biohacking venue as well at the moment. So it's pretty awesome. So I mean, Corona obviously hasn't been the most positive thing for the world, but I think that there's a lot of good things that are coming out of it, and a lot of innovations, especially in the health space. And for us, we've had more time to build an even better event. So I'm very happy about that. You know, Tim, it starved us all for like really, really good events. So I think we can wait a little bit longer for it and to really appreciate it when it actually is allowed to go to such a place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well put. I mean, what is it? It's you got to appreciate the good to appreciate the bad, and you got to appreciate the bad to appreciate the good. Or, you know, the story of Buddha I don't know if you know the story of Buddha, but yeah, if you don't know the bad, you can't appreciate the good as much.
Yeah, this is what I try to remind myself on a daily basis. This is what it's about now. We're just learning how good we really have it. So when the day changes, when we can actually meet again, it will be very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people say, oh, you know, digital conferences might be the future. Well, actually, no, because, you know, you can do online dating, but you still got to meet in person. We need that human connection and the networking and the hanging out and just having a laugh about random things that you can't have when you're on Zoom or whatnot. And so I know that the world's craving it, and everyone seems to say the same. And I think it's just waiting until we can. So, but yeah. So,
Sure.
Bjorn, is there anything else you'd like to cover or tell the guys that are watching today before we tell them where to find you and various details?
No, I think that's okay. I see already, I'm sitting in Oslo, Norway, and the light is slipping here. We're going into the winter half of the year. I think if we go on much further, I'm going to have to use my device as a light, as a source of lighting for my face. So it's probably a good time to round it off in a way. And just as a reminder that this is, ooh, that's harsh, yeah. But it's nice and warming, and it's not dangerous, even though it's red, which I think is.
Yeah, it's funny. I did an interview with Dr. Mercola a few weeks ago for his Stop COVID Cold campaign.
Okay.
But I didn't realize, but I was in London at the time, and it was getting darker and darker and darker and darker. And I didn't have my blue blockers, so I didn't turn the lights on. And by the end of it, it was pretty much black. You couldn't see anything. Luckily, I'm in Spain. I'm in Spain right now, so it's really, really bright. And it's still.
But it's a reminder, as we're all fading into winter half of the year, is when it can be good to stock up on a little bit of extra sunshine, a little bit of extra sunlight that you can't, like, that we can't always have access to. So you enjoy the sun in Spain while you can.
Oh, I am. Oh, I am. Yeah, I'm getting the natural stuff right now, and not for long. Apparently, it's raining back in London. So yeah. So Bjorn, where can people?
That's cool. I would say go check out our Indiegogo campaign that is running right now. We put a lot of effort into this to try to just show this to the world, that like this thing actually exists, and any support that you would have by just clicking the link and checking it out, maybe ordering it at 40% off. It's going to be a big boost to our efforts to make this the next generation red light therapy device that we believe it is. And we're very honored that you would curate us and select us for the event. And we look forward to meeting you and a lot of your viewers in the post-COVID world.
So what's the website? So it's just on Indiegogo. You haven't got a website up and running, or you have?
Yeah, so we have the flexbeam.com is our webpage, and we can embed that link, but along with this show will be a specific link to Indiegogo's campaign page, where our shop is currently being hosted, basically on that platform.
And on Instagram, you're the FlexBeam, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, we're the FlexBeam on Facebook and Instagram, and the flexbeam.com.
Yeah, awesome. So one thing I just wanted to check with you is that I always get confused between Recharge and FlexBeam. So tell me, like, what is that exactly? Is what like?
Yeah, so Recharge is the company where I'm one of the partners, and the FlexBeam is our first product.
Right.
Okay, that is basically it. We have more devices coming for other applications, let's say, in the pipeline, and this is our first.
Okay, well, I'm a big fan of green light therapy.
All right.
For migraines and whatnot. So perhaps we should have a chat about that and see if that's something that you guys might look into. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure. We have just the right people for it.
Awesome. So it's been really nice to catch up with you today, Bjorn, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the questions that roll in, guys. And thanks very much for watching today. And yeah, leave your comments below, and follow the FlexBeam as well, because they're really good guys, and looking forward to seeing them at the summit very, very soon.